Hello everyone, how's it going? I wanted to introduce a new series today, which I am dubbing Transaction History. So over the years, I spend my money on a lot of dumb stuff. And, more and more these days, I try to be a bit more savvy about my purchases, but every once in a while, something slips through the cracks. Most of my money goes down to figures, which I don't end up actually doing anything with. Some of them just get displayed for a little while, but don't ever actually get much play out of that. And so I wanted to take a look at some of them and see how I feel about my purchases now, just looking back on it. And I wanted to start with one of my first purchases, which is from the DC Icons line, the Rebirth Batman figure. Again, from the DC Icons line, from DC Collectibles. These figures, I bought this one, I looked it up in my transaction history. I bought it off of Big Bad Toy Store around October 25th of 2017. I bought it for like $25 with tax and shipping and whatnot. It came down to like $30. Since then, it has been sold out, and I'll tell you why in a second. You can buy it off of Amazon as at the time of this video, for like $35. So it actually has appreciated in value by like $10. And the reason why that is because the DC Icons line actually got discontinued. People were not happy with the original DC Icons line because the first incarnation of the figures were true 6-inch scale. And for those that don't understand, well, it's pretty self-explanatory. It was just 6 inches tall, which most figures are 6-inch scale, but they're not true 6 inches. They're usually a little bit taller or shorter depending on, depending on what the figure is. So, like, a figure like Batman would be way taller than 6 inches, because Batman's a pretty big guy. Someone like Beast Boy or whatever would be a lot smaller, or Spider-Man would be a lot smaller. But people found that the DC Icons line was true 6-inch scale, didn't match with any of the other figures that people had, so people just didn't like to buy them. By the time this figure came out, though, they had started to fix it. They took all the complaints that people had and tried to address them. Oh, that's the first time that's happened. Issues with stuff like articulation and scale. So if I actually, once I attach this leg back, if I actually take a ruler of this guy, this version of Batman is actually around 6.5 inches tall. From the bottom of his feet to the top of his ears. It's like 6.5 inches tall. So why did I buy this figure in particular? Well, I wanted a modern-looking Batman. I already had a version of Batman from my childhood, which I really like. I'm a huge Batman fan, and I knew that I wanted to get a Batman figure at some point, and this one was pretty cheap, and I really like the design of it. The Rebirth suit is super cool. I like the purple cape on it. I like the take on the emblem with the yellow outlines on it and all that. And I like the articulation, and I like the design on it. It's very, very posable. As you can see, the leg just literally popped right off. This was also a complaint people had, was with the thigh swivel, so that's why this line got discontinued as well. Just because of the lack of articulation, and just, I don't know. I actually think that the care and the sculpt on this was pretty good, all things considering. So, I mentioned earlier at the start of this video that I bought this back in 2017. What have I been doing with it since? Absolutely nothing. It's been sitting in the box for a good deal of the year. I bought this partly because of the articulation and the sculpt and whatnot, and it's just been sitting in a box. Most of my figures just stay posed in one direction anyway, so they don't really get much range of motion. But, I don't know. Looking back on it, do I actually regret this purchase? I don't think so. I think, as far as collecting goes, I knew that if I were going to collect any figures, it would be something like the DC Collectibles line, or maybe like Marvel Legends, because those are relatively cheap. Marvel Legends go for around like $20. This one is a bit higher end for me, and I knew that if I were going to buy something special, I wouldn't try to collect one of those. But, do I regret this purchase? Not really. Do I wish that I did more with it? Absolutely. I kind of wish that, I don't wish that I didn't buy it. I wish that they were able to come out with more figures from this line before discontinuing it. I think they were gonna release Shazam right before the line got discontinued. There were actually figures in a 7-pack of the Rebirth line that never got released by themselves. There's a version of Wonder Woman that was supposed to come out based off of her Rebirth design that never came out because the line got discontinued. Yeah, but I think for the price that I paid for it, I don't exactly regret it, you know? It's not really $30 I'm gonna miss. Also, it's just a really good Batman figure. I like the design on it. As far as articulation goes, I guess I should go over that since it is technically a figure review. His head can turn side to side, kind of goes up and down a little bit, mostly down, but not quite. The cape is rubber, so it's very pliable, so you can actually get the arms all the way out as far as it needs to. That's as far as it goes out, but it can go all the way up, you know. Might be a little bit stiff because it's been in a box. He's got an swivel on the bicep, double jointed on the elbows, no gauntlet rotation, but can rotate at the wrist go in and out like that. He's got not an ab crunch, but like a diaphragm joint. No ab articulation at all, but it's separated at the upper part of the chest. This looks like it should be the way that it's cut right there looks like it's supposed to be something, but I don't actually know if it's doing anything. No, it's not. That looks like a fake articulation. It's not real, because it's not doing anything. Either that or just very stiff. Yeah, it's cut right there. I just noticed that. It doesn't do anything. No waist swivel either. Even though it should be cut like that. I don't know. Anyway, the legs are on this weird little ball joint, so it can go up, but it swivels out like that. Do the splits. So it can go back that much, can go forward that much, rotates a little bit at the waist or the hip. Double jointed knees. No boot cut. Feet go forward and back, and there is an ankle pivot. Really good ankle pivot, actually. Overall, the articulation on is really nice. The figure stands really well. It's well sculpted. I think the articulation on it holds up really well. And the sculpt's really nice. That's weird. I never noticed that. But again, overall, do I regret buying this? Not really. It's not something that's a part of my transaction history that I regret, honestly. For the price that I paid for it. Again, unfortunately, this figure is not really available through conventional means. It's just people reselling them whatever stock they have left because of the fact that the line got discontinued. But if you were looking to pick up a figure from the Rebirth line, I would suggest this one. DC did re-release this figure under a different sculpt. The Rebirth design was re-released under the DC Essentials line. Gotta tell you, I don't really like that version of it because it's a little bit less faithful to the actual design. If you look up pictures of Greg Capullo's design of the Rebirth figure, which I think he designed, the Rebirth suit, it's a little bit less faithful because Greg Capullo kind of drew him with, like, you know, a lighter gray, brighter purples. You know, I feel like the colors on this figure is a lot more accurate than the DC Essentials figure. Also, the DC Essentials line, at least in my humble opinion, has a poorer sculpt. But that's it for this one. In summation, yeah, I think it's fine. If you're looking to buy a Rebirth figure, go ahead and pick that up. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.